Assalamualaikum, saya Mina dari Badan Pengelola Keuangan Haji. BPKH merupakan badan hukum publik yang bersifat independen. BPKH dibentuk guna mendukung penyelenggaraan haji yang lebih berkualitas, pengelolaan keuangan haji yang lebih optimal, dan memberikan kemaslahatan untuk umat. Untuk mendapatkan porsi haji reguler, calon jemaah wajib membayarkan setoran awal sebesar 25 juta rupiah. Setoran awal dapat dilakukan di bank-bank syariah maupun di unit-unit usaha syariah. Selanjutnya, calon jemaah haji menandatangani akad wakalah sebagai penyerahan kuasa pengelolaan setoran awal. Biaya perjalanan ibadah haji disesuaikan dengan tahun keberangkatan. Dari setoran awal yang terkumpul, dana haji akan diinvestasikan dalam berbagai bentuk investasi untuk mendapat nilai manfaat. Menurut Peraturan Pemerintah Nomor 5 Tahun 2018, BPKH wajib melakukan penempatan atau investasi keuangan haji sesuai dengan prinsip syariah dengan mempertimbangkan aspek keamanan, kehati-hatian, nilai manfaat, dan likuiditas. Biaya haji reguler tahun ini sekitar 89,4 juta. Jemaah hanya membayar sebesar 55,4 juta. Selisih 33,9 jutanya dibayarkan melalui nilai manfaat yang dikelola oleh BPKH. Nilai manfaat juga akan didistribusikan kepada jemaah tunggu dan dapat dicek melalui aplikasi BPKH Apps. Dana tersebut dikelola sesuai prinsip syariah, kehati-hatian, manfaat, nirlaba, transparan, dan akuntabel. BPKH hadir untuk melayani jemaah haji Indonesia. BPKH, amanah melayani umat.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Muhammad Faisal Fajrin. Welcome to the Youth Connect Podcast, presented by Badan Pengelola Keuangan Haji Republik Indonesia, BPKH RI, and OIC Youth Indonesia. Connect Youth Talk is a collaborative podcast initiative between BPKH RI and OIC Youth Indonesia. It provides a platform for dialogue and ambassador with key figures from Muslim majority countries to build bridges through shared values, economic cooperation, and youth engagement. Today, we're honored to be in the presence of His Excellency Dr. Yassir Mohamed Ali, the Ambassador of Republic of Sudan to the Republic of Indonesia. Welcome, His Excellency.
Shukran. Thank you very much, Muhammad. It is really a pleasure for me to be with you in this podcast. I hope it will be a chance to talk about some interesting topics for your reviewers. And it's a pleasure for me. Thank you very much for having me today.
First and foremost, how are you today?
Alhamdulillah, enjoying my stay in Jakarta. It's a very unique place for diplomats, and especially those who comes from Muslim countries, and specifically those who come from an Arab countries.
Mm-hmm.
This is a place where you find a lot of opportunities. God's gates are open everywhere. Alhamdulillah. Wherever we go, we are received with warm reception and open hand. And Sudan specifically has a very special place here in Indonesia, which is not known to many. But Indonesia also has a very special place in the hearts of Sudanese. And we praise Indonesia in one of our national songs about Bandung Conference and President Sukarno.
Wow.
So this history to be told, and I'm happy that you are giving me this opportunity to talk about this brief history and how we are close to each other, despite the fact that geographically Sudan and Indonesia is more than 10-hour flights. 10 hours to fly from Indonesia to Sudan, but our hearts is very close to each other, and our emotions and our aspirations are always closer to each other.
His Excellency, you shared with me earlier that Indonesia has a close ties with Sudan. And what do you think is the similarities between Indonesian people and Sudanese people?
Well, actually, Indonesia, historically speaking, has a lot of ties with many African countries. But when we talk about the recent history, our first, we consider him as our first ambassador, came to Indonesia in 1912. Sheikh Ahmad Sarkati. He was a scholar in the Mecca, the Grand Mosque of Mecca, and he was invited by some of the Indonesians of Yemeni origin here to come and teach Arabic and Islamic studies. He was a very famous scholar at that time in Mecca. So he came to Indonesia and he liked the place. And he stayed until he died, and he was buried here in 1942, a few months before the independence of Indonesia. Interestingly, he was not only a scholar of Islamic and Arabic studies, he was a social reformer also. He took part with the Indonesian in the struggle against the Dutch colonization. And he's one of the founders of Al-Irshad group. Al-Irshad is one of the organizations which has a lot of schools and universities and madrasa. That's why we have a very much deeply rooted relations with Indonesia. And we have a lot of teachers who came from Sudan and stayed in Indonesia and become Indonesian. And also we have a lot of Indonesians studying in Sudan, thousands graduated from our universities in Sudan.
Sudan is quite interesting country since it's situated like in the crossroad between Arab and Africa, right? How do you think it shaped the nation of Sudan and its civilization?
This is a very interesting question. Sudan, as you mentioned, is a crossroad, especially when we talk about Hajj.
Yes.
Many pilgrimage used to come from West Africa, the cross of Sudanese land to the Red Sea and Saudi Arabia and Hijaz at that time. And most of these people, some of them settled in Sudan. And Sudan is a combination of Arabs and African. So it is just like a melting pot, if I may say, for Arabs and Africa. And it's a bridge of the civilization between both of them. And it's a huge country. When we talk about the size of lands, Sudan actually used to be the 10th largest country in the world.
Wow.
And after the separation of South Sudan in 2011, Sudan became the second after Indonesia in the size of the land mass. Indonesia is 15th countries of size, maybe about 1.9 million square kilometers. Sudan is 1.8 million square kilometers. But when you calculate the size, the mass of the water, Indonesia is probably 15 million. But interestingly also, the population of Indonesia is, I think, more than 5 times or 6 times more than the population of Sudan. Nearly 5 times. We are approaching 50 million, while Indonesia is approaching maybe 300 million in a few coming years. So Sudan, geopolitically speaking, is a very important country because it is on the eastern part. There is a Red Sea, which is one of the most important trade, route to Europe from China. And we are surrounded by more than 6-7 countries. Some of them are landlocked. So when we talk about the geopolitics of Sudan, it is very importantly located. And also when we talk about the wealth and capacity and capabilities, later on we can describe how Sudan is situated and in the international map.
And you touch a tiny bit more about how a lot of Islamic scholars is from Sudan as well, and also a lot of people studying Arabic and all that. And how do you describe how the government will preserve it for the future generation, that Islamic culture is still within Sudan body?
Well, Islam is deeply rooted in Sudan, like here in Indonesia. And interestingly, Arabic is spoken by all Sudanese, just like Bahasa Indonesia. It's a lingua franca among all the Sudanese. It is a mother tongue and native language for many Sudanese, but those who are living in the border side, northern or eastern and southern Sudan, they speak their tribal languages. But Arabic is the only lingua franca that brings them together. Interestingly, even in southern Sudan, which is purely African, and there are a lot of tribes. They have their own tribal languages, and the elites speak in English, while the rest communicated among each other in Arabic. So although it's not a classical Arabic, so when we talk about the cultural, just like the cultural base of the Sudanese, of course, you cannot separate it from the Islamic culture and Islamic values. And of course, Arabic is one of the strong bases that brings us together with Arab countries and with the rest of the Muslim countries also who are interested to learn Arabic, because we are one of the good center to teach Arabic to non-Arabic speakers. Why? Because we have major centers that teaches Sudanese who come from different origins, and Arabic is not their mother tongue.
Yeah.
So we have the experience, and that's why many of our scholars are highly demanded in many non-Arab speaking countries, like in Asia and Indonesia, for example, the largest Muslim countries.
Yeah.
There is a big demand for them.
Interesting. And as we might know that OIC plays such a vital role in most of our Islamic countries, especially Indonesia or maybe Sudan. But what do you think is the role of Sudan within OIC, and how OIC can impact Sudan?
Well, this is a very complicated question for me as a diplomat, because Sudan is one of the founder of OIC in 1996, 69, sorry. And when we talk about about the OIC, it's 57 countries.
Yes.
Over 2 billion population.
Yes.
And I was just trying to see some statistics about the economy of the OIC countries collectively. Is the GDP is $8.9 trillion.
Yes.
If we talk about GDP from the purchasing power parity, PPP, it is more than 24 trillion.
Yes.
This can bring OIC countries among the top 5 economy in the world. This is just a dream. When we talk about economic influence, of course, we'll be having political influence, and we'll be having impact on the ground in all members of OIC and other countries also. But unfortunately, to be frank with you, when we see the map today of the world and what we see, what's going on in our countries, my country, for example, and Gaza, and we ask, are we part of OIC and Arab leagues? And forget about the United Nations and Security Council.
Yes.
This is serving the former colonizing power. This goes without saying. But I'm not here to blame or to criticize. I'm just here to state facts. The role of OIC is almost absent. I don't want to say it is big zero on what's going on in Sudan or Arab League as well, or in Palestine. When you see the starvation, when you see these huge atrocities, and we see the double standard of the West towards Palestine and towards Ukraine, and the absence of OIC reveals that we're still lagging behind the ambitions and the aspiration of the people. I'm sure the aspiration of the people in Indonesia and among all OIC, even non-OIC countries like South Africa, for example, it's become an issue of human rights. It's become an international issue that brings people together. And thanks to this type of media, which brings awareness. Now, 20 years ago, all the media is controlled by governments. Now the media is open. Any group of young people like you with small studio, you can be heard. Your voice could be heard. And here comes the importance of the youth to raise the awareness.
Yeah.
When we are aware of what's going on around us, then we'll be having a better chance to know each other. And then we will realize that there's no much of a gap between us. Here, for example, in Indonesia or in Sudan, or even in Latin America, there are a lot of things to be shared. And this awareness can bring us together, and we can do a lot of things.
Yeah.
Apart from political issue, economically, socially, culturally. And for us as a Muslims, this is a good platform to talk about. Because Islam, the ayah mentioned, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent the Prophet to the Nasi Kafa, to the whole mankind. And that means this address is universal.
Yes.
It is globalized, message. But the challenge comes how we can deliver this message to others. We don't need parochial-minded people. We have to have a new approach to Islamic Sharia, good understanding to to Quran. And the best way to understand the Quran is to learn the language of Quran. And here there is a very important point to be mentioned. People think that Quran is written in Arabic, so as if Allah giving the Arabs a special status. Like Bani Israel, they said we are the son of God. This is nonsense. Because Quran itself made it specially, very clear. إن الله أنزله بلسان عربي مبين. This Quran, the word of Allah, came to the human, to the whole mankind across history and geography in Arabic language, because Arabic language is more clear and can carry the meaning of this. And وَأَرْسَلْنَاكَ لِلنَّاسِ كَافَّةً, Allah sent this prophet to the whole mankind. That means this words of Allah through our messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam to the whole mankind. That means Arabic language is not for Arabs. Now we're speaking English. Why? Because the British colonized almost the whole world, and they were having very strong effect culturally, military, mighty, and now it becomes a lingua franca for all the whole world. It's still Arabic language. It is spoken widely, and people having the interest to learn this, not because of the strength of the Arab. If we have a scale of civilization, Arabs will be at the bottom, to be frank. And maybe OIC countries, most of them, they're really very backward. But still, this language is very strong. Why? Because of this book. So here comes the importance of these platforms to raise awareness. We need to learn this language to have a better understanding of Quran and how we can live together in a better way and more accommodative way, despite our differences, religions, belief, cultural differences. That brings us together. Sorry, I think I spoke much in this area, but it's very interesting area.
Yeah, and especially we talked about earlier that we're deeply sorry about what happened in Sudan. And if you don't mind, many of our viewers maybe didn't know much about what currently happening in Sudan. Do you mind touch a little bit more about what is happening and for the viewers to understand?
Okay, thank you for this question. I may just emphasize on the speeches of a famous, very eminent American professor. His name is Jeffrey Sachs. He's a famous economist and very brave in the way he articulates his ideas and the way he criticized the Western politics towards the former colonies. He mentioned it in one of his lectures that all the problems in the global South, the former colonies, when you go deep to analyze this problem, you will find the hands of the former colonizer. Sudan was a British colony. And the separation of Southern Sudan was very much encouraged by the British and the American straight away. And Sudan is as I mentioned, used to be the largest country in Africa, or nearly 1 million square kilometers. That is a mile at that time before the separation, nearly 2.5 million square kilometers, rich of minerals, resources, the River Nile. Now everybody talk about food security and the water shortages. Sudan is rich of abundance of water. The River Nile goes across Sudan from southern Sudan to the Mediterranean. A lot of fertile land and a lot of capability to produce, agricultural and food production. I mentioned that, and a lot of minerals. So what's going on in Sudan? It is a competition of superpower against the resources. It is very unfortunate that many countries are behind what's going on in Sudan this war, and among them one of our Arab countries having a very direct involvement role. That's why we took the matter against them into Security Council. We ceased our diplomatic relations with them, and this is not it's not a good sign among Arab countries or among the OIC country. One country supported a militia, a separatist group, to force itself over the will of other people and to rule the country. But I can assure you that Sudanese are known by their history. They are very brave fighters. Historically, we have a rich history of 7,000 years of civilization, and our history full of, patriotism and sacrifice. And we cannot accept that. And I'm expecting within few months, the will of the people will prevail. Inshallah. And here, there is a point I want to mention. Indonesia is among the very few countries that stood with Sudan strongly. There is a say that friend in need is a friend indeed. So Indonesia for us, not friend, Indonesia, brothers and sisters. You know what's going on in Sudan? Indonesia was among the first country to send humanitarian assistance to Sudan directly from planes took off from Jakarta to Port Sudan, and more than 3 times. And the worth of this humanitarian assistance is not much in terms of money, less than about $5 million. But in terms of meaning and value, it's huge. Because when people who suffered in Sudan and see a plane came all the way from Indonesia, this shows how we are close to each other. It's not only that, Indonesia also stood with us in the international forum recently, many times in Geneva, in the Human Rights Commission. Because as I mentioned, this is a big conspiracy against Sudan, and Indonesia always stands strongly in the support of us against this colonial ambition, like what they are doing in Gaza. Indonesia has a very strong position, even more than some Arab countries. This is fact. This is reality. And this reveals that your country is having a very clear vision in leading a very independent role. And that's why we always look forward to Indonesia as a growing power economically and politically speaking.
And during this challenging time, what is the key priorities for national reconstruction, and how the youth is taking part of it, and how the government is trying to push what you said earlier, that when the people already being empowered to rise up, what are the key priorities that the government is trying to convey?
Well, for the time being, the key priority is to the security should be attained, and the country should be secured from all those militia. And we are about now to enter the stage of reconstruction. And here, where we are aspiring to have a very special relation with our brothers in Indonesia, because Indonesia is a growing economy, not only within the region. Indonesia is among the top 20 major economies, and Indonesia is aspiring to be among the top 5 maybe in the coming 20 years or less, inshallah. That means Indonesia has a plan and aspiration to come closer to not only global South Africa in specific. Last year, we attended a very important economic gathering in not in Bandung, in Bali. And this was the second economic forum. And now Indonesia is part of the BRICS. And recently we saw the visit of President of Brazil and President of South Africa. And so all this gives us a clear signs that Indonesia is coming closer to Sudan. And here, these rehabilitation projects will be a good opportunity. In addition to that, of course, the youth can play a major role to raise awareness. This is the most important thing. And I'm sure the youth of Indonesia, which comprises maybe 50% of the population, those who are below 30. And if we talk about this 2 billion population of the OIC countries, I think the youth comprises also maybe half of them. So it is your role to bring the common understanding that we can cooperate, that we can build our own, interest economically, culturally. And this is a very challenging and very, big task for all of us to work together and to raise awareness.
His Excellency already shared with us the key factor is international cooperation to revive Sudan. And might we ask, what do you think it's how can we boost or revive Sudan with international cooperation in terms of economic factors? Do you think that OIC might help it as well, or any other international cooperation or bilateral that could help Sudan stand on its feet again?
Okay, I may not be here in a position to speak about the role of the cooperation on international level between international organizations in Sudan. But when we talk about our level here in Indonesia, and not only under the forum of the OIC, but initiatives that could be could be emanated from Indonesia here. The youth, just we have to have a sort of economic forum or platform. When we talk, for example, about halal economy, halal economy Indonesia is a leading.
Yeah.
It's a locomotive of halal economy, even more than many Arab countries.
Yeah.
And Indonesia has the capability to take initiative to bring this idea closer to maybe to Sudanese and many African countries. And for us, as I mentioned, Sudan is a huge country of huge potentiality of producing food. For example, now we see that one of the paramount task of the President Prabowo in his speeches.
Yes.
We need to achieve food security and energy security.
Yes.
So I'm sure that Indonesia is looking for partners in Africa and global South. Sudan can stand as one of the strategic partners because there are a lot of opportunities.
Yes.
To establish this kind of partnership for the mutual interests of both, and the youth can take the lead. Of course, we need to pave the way because there are a lot of complications, and I think we should think of how we can build a channel of financial cooperation. For example, for you as a businessman, young businessman, you want to sell something to Sudan or import something from Sudan, we need the government, G2G, they have to pave the way for that and to make it easy and encouraging for the young generation and youth, whether in the OIC or other organizations.
Yeah. Let's pivot to more direction of talking about Hajj and pilgrimage. As we said earlier, Sudan is quite unique in a way that it's situated between the crossroad of Arabs and Africa. And how do you think, and during this challenging time also, how the government ensure that the Hajj will run smoothly and the pilgrimage will run smoothly despite the economic challenges and all that in Sudan right now?
Well, actually, due to this political instability and the security problem, of course, the number of Hajj, those who comes for as pilgrimage to Mecca, is less because there is a lot of economic difficulties, despite the fact that we're closer to Saudi Arabia compared to Indonesian. But I really admire here the role of BPKH and the way they organize Hajj.
Yes.
The Indonesian who goes to Hajj, and could be noticed easily if you are in Mecca or Medina. See the groups Indonesian, how they are very well organized.
Yeah.
How are they very much civilized and polite. Even the attire they wear is very unique.
The same color.
Yes, and this reveals the good system and the organization behind that. I'm sure there is a huge effort. This is my first time to be in this the premises of this esteemed organization.
Yeah.
And I should really commend this is huge effort to organize such a big number and to manage it in a proper way. And I'm sure I think we need to learn and we need to emulate this experience. Although our number of pilgrimage compared to Indonesia is very small. Indonesia has the highest number of Hujjaj in Arabic, we said pilgrimage, compared to other countries. But I really admire this ideas, and inshallah in the future I'd love to meet the Director General of BPKH, and we have also a committee in Sudan, a ministerial committee that organizes the Hajj systems in Sudan. But your experience is far ahead of many other Muslim countries, and this is an experience to be taught and an experience to be emulated in our countries. Inshallah, we're looking forward to have the aspiration from your very good organization, and I think this is part of your culture because for the last 2 years I've been here in Jakarta. I see the people, Jakarta is a jam place.
Yes.
The way they drive, the way they are patient and so polite. So this is part of your nature. And other part of the world, people are of hot temper.
Yeah.
Very easy
to
be for Indonesian to be following the system, while it is difficult for people who come from different cultural, backgrounds. But anyway, this is an idea to be shared, inshallah, between us.
you know, as a country that has a proud Islamic heritage as well, and you talk about how Sudan can also learn from Indonesia, and we can also learn from Sudan in terms of the pilgrimage and all the Hajj experiences. Do you think that the Sudan government have any agenda for improvement, or do you think there's a sort of a thing that we Indonesia can improve as well? Or do you have any takes on that?
It's regarding the Hajj
Yeah.
system. Definitely, we'll be having, every year we learn from our mistakes and we learn from our experience. But nevertheless, we need to come closer and to learn from to share the experience, because you have a bigger experience. And for sure, there will be an aspiration to meet, the senior officials from our organization of Hajj and Umrah we have in Sudan.
Mhm,
So this will be a good chance, inshallah, for us to work for that.
mhm.
And we look forward to have a closer organization. Even, for example, now Indonesia is aspiring to have special arrangements for Hajj,
Yeah.
even their meals. We can talk about, instead of sending, for a certain type of food
Mhm.
from Indonesia, we can manufacture that in Sudan
Yes.
because it is cheaper and good quality. Sudan is having the largest number of livestock in the whole region,
Wow.
and we provide a lot of cattle and lambs in
Yeah,
Saudi
yeah,
Arabia.
yeah.
So we can
That's
we can make
interesting.
we can make a special
Yeah,
rundown to
yeah.
our Hajj.
Indonesia. And what message would Your Excellency like to convey to the youth of Islamic Ummah about their role in promoting unity, resilience, and hope, considering that in Indonesia we have a different background, multicultural, multinational also, and also interfaith dialogue. And what do you think that you would like to convey?
Well, this is a very interesting question because when we look to the political setup of these 57 countries of the OIC, there are some differences. Indonesia is it's an open society. There is a peaceful transition of power between party to another through fair elections. In some other countries, it's not the case. So here you can criticize the government. You can criticize all the performance of senior executive officials. In some other countries, it's not possible. So how to bring this youth together? I think we should concentrate on the cultural aspect and social interaction.
Mm-hmm.
And by cultural aspect, I feel that through this kind of media,
Mm-hmm.
that brings a lot of awareness and
Yes.
understanding. And I think you have the capabilities to do that jointly with economic also motivation. For example, as a youth of OIC, you should concentrate not only on the cultural and theoretical aspects, but also on matters that brings benefit to people. For example, if you manage to make an expo like the one
Yes.
recently was held in Indonesia, and this type of expo could be arranged in many African and many OIC countries, and there's a banner made in Indonesia.
Mm.
You can bring halal products,
Yeah.
type of different products are combined with cultural
Yes.
and a message also. Indonesia is largely Muslim populated country,
Yes.
but the perception of Islam in Indonesia, I'm learning from this really. It's not a parochial one like the one in the Middle East.
Yes.
I shouldn't say Middle East, West Asia and North Africa,
Mm-hmm.
because Middle East is a British.
Yes. Yeah, I know that. Yes.
Yeah, it is Middle East for them.
Reclaiming our
For
own.
them,
Yeah.
but for us, it is West Asia
Yeah.
and North Africa.
How dare
For
they say
example,
Middle East?
yes, for example, when I see the role of women in Indonesia,
Yes.
in many programs, women are taking part in dances, even reciting Quran,
Yeah.
making Islamic songs. While in other countries, this kind of understanding is not in their mind,
Mm-hmm.
and this reveals your understanding of Islam
Yeah.
is far ahead and far civilized
Mm-hmm.
and practical compared to those,
Mm-hmm.
because the culture is different here. So this type of culture could be prevailed in many other countries.
Yeah.
And if I go around, I see women in full hijab
Mm-hmm.
and some women in a very liberal costume, but they're living in harmony.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And this reveals understanding
Yeah.
of Islam. in a more civilized way. So I think you, as a young generation, you can propagate this among many other countries through the social media and this kind of interaction, and it has to be combined, cultural with economic benefit. And of course, this media can become a very strong platform to bring us together. inshallah.
Yeah. And adding on that, in your view, how can our shared history and faith-based diplomacy contribute to stronger unity within Ummah, especially during the time of crisis?
Well, here let me just talk about the Bandung spirit
Yeah.
and Pancasila. This could be promoted and could be brought to a higher level among the global south. Because Pancasila is really a very advanced understanding that brings people of different faith together. If I look at it from an parochial Islamic perspective, the Salafi ideas, of course, we cannot bring people together because some of people, due to shortage of thinking, they think that Islam has to just, this is the school of thought of Islam. While Islam it doesn't have any kind of restricted, ideological way. It is open. When you go to Quran and you derive the knowledge from Quran, you will realize that you have the freedom. Even there is an interesting story of Shaitan when he say no to Allah himself. Allah did not destroy him. He gave them the freedom of choice. So when I talk about Pancasila, this could be propagated. And the other thing is Bandung spirit. Believe me, this Bandung spirit can become as a very diplomatic and soft power for Indonesia. I'm sure our Indonesian brothers are aware of that. So Bandung spirit can be, just like a vehicle to bring Indonesia now, economically speaking, among the global south, among the BRICS, among the Islamic countries and OIC. So these are the tools in the hand of Indonesian, not the government, even the youth and non-governmental organizations. So we can use them in a rational way and talented way. We can send the message that brings us together.
And moving on to the next question, and sadly our last question, Your Excellency, what final message do you like to convey to the youth, and also wanted Indonesian people to know also about Sudan's future and hope for Sudan?
Well, I think the most important thing is knowledge and awareness, because unless you are knowledgeable enough, you cannot live in this world. Now is using this digital technology. We all knew that the information when the Chinese, talk about the new what they call it, this deep seek. Can I think many of you are aware of that more than us. How the Western, world were very much unhappy.
Yes.
And here I'm not a racist, but this is fact. When we go to the history of mankind, the last 400 years, the most atrocities, the most agony happened to us in the global south came from them, and the mentality of controlling, hegemonizing, abusing, looting your country is always coming from them. Until now, what's going on in my country reveals that what we talk about, the digital feudalism, as one of the professor mentioned it very interestingly. They are using this digital communication to serve their purpose. So for us as a global south or as a youth of OIC, the most important thing is to share the knowledge and awareness, and that together we can cooperate and we can form a better world. And gradually, even within the Western countries, this Western civilization is decaying now. No, it's not my word. Many professors talk about it. And I really like the speeches of I haven't seen him yet, and I would love to meet him. He's my guru due to his speeches, Kishore Mahbubani, a Singaporean professor. And he talked about this in a very interesting, speeches, and Jeffrey Sachs and others. I hope you'll be able to disseminate these ideas. We, as Global South, we as Indonesian, Sudanese, OIC countries, we have a lot of chances to come together. But how? to be closer to each other through knowledge and awareness.
Yeah.
Can bridge a gap. You are Indonesian, somebody from Africa, different features, different culture, different languages, but still we have a lot of things in common to be shared. That brings us together, and that makes us making a better example for the mankind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So to conclude, knowledge and awareness is to be disseminated by you, and this is a big task, and we hope all of us together we'll be having a better understanding to each other, and make our life. Our life is very short.
Yes.
But if we work hard, we make it better for us and for the young generation to come. So this is my message in a nutshell.
Yeah, and we definitely learn a lot from Your Excellency, especially knowing that Indonesia and Sudan relationship is such a tight bond, and understanding that actually reclaiming our power, reclaiming our identity, separated from colonizer and all that, is actually the key to success, to rise up in this economy as well. And also, might I add, the word of today, it's helping a friend in need is a friend indeed.
Yes.
It's very nice. So I think that's conclude our discussion today. We're so happy to discuss with you, Your Excellency, and hope that we can talk about it later on in the next session. Thank you so much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Ustadz mau naik haji ya? Katanya kalau naik haji itu mahal ya? Bawa makanan ya Pak Ustadz, biar di sana nggak usah beli. Ini celenganku buat bantuin Pak Ustadz. Buatan aku juga ya, nggak usah nunggu di hotel.
Betul, ibadah haji untuk orang yang mampu. Tapi BPKH sudah hadir untuk memudahkan pembiayaan ibadah haji, sehingga biaya haji lebih terjangkau.
Pak Ustadz, aku naik haji nih.
Ini bukan perkara main-main. Tanggung jawabnya besar. Apa jaminan kamu bisa jaga anak saya? Punya penghasilan tetap? Tabungan ada?
Alhamdulillah ada Pak. Saya juga udah daftar haji.
Gitu dong. Terus mau kapan resepsinya?
Yuk daftar haji selagi muda. Dananya aman dikelola oleh BPKH.
Masih muda daftar haji, kerennya.
Ulti.